This one sure is a looker, but one that demands you spend most of your time concentrated on your feet. You will climb up through the woods, then through the wildflower meadow along the rocky trail at the top of the pass. This is the safer part of the trail, but even here the ground is loose and rocky, so we found pulls to be very helpful on the descent. The pass is a worthy destination in its own right, and where many stop. If you choose to go further, a narrow trail twists around the north side, ducking in and out of the trees as you climb to the notorious catwalk along the ridge. The ridge was my favorite part of this adventure. For about the first half, the rocky fins in the middle of the spine give you some shelter from the incredible heights, while still allowing for views through the many openings to the valley floor below. It felt like walking along the tail of a prehistoric beast, but strangely also reminded me of exploring long-abandoned castle ruins. Try to make a mental map of your course, because we made a wrong turn onto a side chute on the way back. As you go, it gets less tame, and eventually forces you to flip to the more vertigo-inducing side. If you're not a scrambler, this might be a good time to turn back. I probably have less fear of heights than I should, but some of these areas definitely made me think twice. It is still mostly a walk until you get to the wall on the far side, but any wrong step could be fatal, and this trail has claimed several lives over the years. I was just filming with my phone, so I tried to capture a few of the precarious places to give an idea of exposure, but I was unable to safely capture any of the actual scrambling. The wall at the end of the ridge held the majority of the scrambles. None of it was technical, and there were usually good solid holds, but some places the trail was a touch ambiguous. This is looking back across one of the traverses, across an open, sloped face about halfway up. That gave me pause. But it looked worse than it was, and it actually had a bit of a flat to walk on. Once you reach the top of the wall, you will get a view of your final destination, that rounded hump on the left. You still have a ways to go, but you can breathe a sigh of relief, because the major scrambles are over. As we were approaching the scrambles, we saw a man coming down with the most peculiar hiking pole, a butterfly net. He was a volunteer who does studies on this mountain every few weeks. The amount of lush vegetation clinging to this peak is really remarkable, and I can definitely see why it is a butterfly lover's paradise. Pictures help, but you really can't feel the full majesty and peril of this place without actually being here. In addition to the extreme hike, the road to get here isn't the friendliest either, so check out the video of the drive if you'd like a preview of that experience. Many more switchbacks later, I finally reached the peak, with some remains of the fire lookout and winch system that used to be used to haul up supplies. See the link below for photos of this cool-looking structure. I had the summit to myself, but within minutes some clouds started to blow in. They didn't seem very threatening, but I sure wouldn't want to make the return trip with limited visibility or a wet trail, so I started back down. Honestly, even a stiff breeze in some sections would be concerning. Thank you for joining us on this adventure. There are hiking resources below and information on free ways to help support this channel. The easiest is liking and subscribing. Thank you. Happy exploring.